Tonight on To The Point.
Where are the safe ground sites? Where is the enforcement? Where is the compliance?
Sacramento's district attorney threatening legal action, now saying the city has failed to enforce its homeless encampment rules. State buildings are turning into affordable housing when people can start moving in. And flames ripping through a Maui tourist destination, people running into the ocean to save their lives. Good evening. This is To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. The Sacramento district attorney is not mincing words. He is serious about charging city leaders with crimes if homeless ordinances are not enforced. Our Rebecca Habegger sat down with the district attorney today following yesterday's heated moments at City Hall.
The city of Sacramento is failing to enforce its homeless encampment rules. At least that's how Sacramento County District Attorney Tien Ho sees it.
Where are the safe ground sites? Where is the enforcement? Where is the compliance?
I sat down with the DA for his response to Sacramento Mayor Darrell Steinberg's news conference from the day before. Steinberg was reacting to a letter Ho sent this week threatening legal action if city leaders don't make significant progress in addressing the homelessness crisis within 30 days, including adding thousands more shelter spaces, stepped up enforcement and prosecution, and a ban on daytime camping.
Mr. Ho, I understand your frustration. We are all frustrated, but some of us are actually working day and night to try to make the problem better. You are going about this all wrong.
During our interview, the DA shared this email with me from the Sacramento city attorney stating Sacramento police are simply not issuing citations for unlawful camping, unlawful storage, sidewalk obstructions, or any Sacramento city code sections related to the homeless encampments. In fact, she says our data indicates no citations have been referred to our office for prosecution, with just one exception. Ho said that news shocked him.
I've said over the last few months that I believe there's been inconsistent enforcement. What I didn't realize is that there's been non-existent enforcement.
In response, the city spokesperson says the city has been enforcing its sidewalk ordinance, responding to more than 4,500 calls for service regarding blocked sidewalks and building entrances. The reason they haven't resulted in citations and prosecutions is last year, council members passed a resolution telling the city manager and attorney to avoid imposing fines and booking into jail violators of the sidewalk ordinance whenever possible. Last week, the city rescinded that resolution, allowing for stepped-up enforcement, but the DA says more needs to happen and fast.
I do not relish the possibility of suing another government entity in order to compel them to do the right thing.
I asked the DA, would he really charge the mayor with a crime?
People have asked, is this an empty threat? And the answer is no.
Rebecca Habegger joins us now. And I actually want to talk about last month because the DA created a survey for people living in the city of Sacramento, asking them what are their experiences with homeless encampments. Can you share some of those responses? Because it was overwhelming.
Yeah, the DA says that to this point, his office has received some 2,000 responses. Some people report being assaulted at gunpoint by an unhoused person. A girl's soccer game was postponed because of hypodermic needles on the field. A homeowner even reports they were diagnosed with PTSD due to harassment and break-ins by people living in a camp across the street.
All right. Thank you so much, Becca. And for a list of what the mayor and the DA have separately proposed to help fix this crisis, make sure you check out this story at abc10.com. Thanks, Becca. And coming up a little bit later in the show, we are looking at affordable housing sites in the downtown area. Many say that it's one of the keys to getting people off the streets. And to our next story, we continue to follow the wildfires in Hawaii. At least 6 people are dead, and search and rescue crews are continuing their efforts after fires ripped through Maui overnight. The most devastating images are along the western shore. The people ran into the ocean just to escape the flames. Historic downtown Lahaina, a popular tourist destination, is completely devastated. People describe it as being wiped off the map. Hundreds of homes are gone, and the famous banyan tree that takes up the entire city block, it's destroyed. So tonight, tourists are being asked not to travel to Maui. We are at the Sacramento airport with more on the impact. But first, I want to get things over to Monica, because where do things really stand right now, Monica?
Alex, we still have a red flag warning and wind advisory in effect for almost all of the islands, as you can see here, shaded in the brown and the red areas. And in the background of all this, we still have drought conditions, most of which are really confined to Maui. And you can see Lahaina right here in the zone where we're looking at moderate and almost into that severe drought category. So that's the setup. Meteorologist Carly Gomez explains what happened overnight to really fan those flames.
Yeah, the world is watching as Hawaii has been dealing with devastating fire outbreaks, especially on the island of Maui. We've been tracking Hurricane Dora that passed south of there about 500 miles. Now, the strong winds with that 130-mile-per-hour winds is a Cat 4, helping to increase wind speeds across the area. But now a high pressure is to the north. That's creating a strong pressure gradient. The two pushed up against each other continue to increase those wind speeds, which has really remained with the wind advisory in place for the region, as well as those fire weather warnings they've been seeing throughout Wednesday. Now, the third element here that not a lot of people think about are the trade winds. They're easterly winds that come off the continent here and pass it, bringing in very dry conditions. If you think about monsoonal flow of moisture in the desert Southwest, over that heat, it's continuing to push toward the islands, bring in the drier air for that region. Now, they have been seeing some of those areas with areas of humidity as low as about 20%. They'll continue to be tracking the fire danger throughout the evening and toward the end of the week.
Thanks, Carly. And this is video inside the Maui airport. 2,000 travelers are sheltering in place there because flights were canceled. A big convention center in Honolulu will take in thousands of displaced tourists and locals. And our Alicia Machado has been at the Sacramento airport today looking at the impacts that these fires are really having.
A flight left SMF around 12:20 this afternoon for Kahului, which is on Maui. An emergency proclamation has been issued due to the ongoing wildfires, and all non-essential travel to Maui is strongly discouraged. As flames tear through Hawaii, eyes and hearts in California are turned toward Maui. Sacramento area residents ABC 10 spoke with waking up to news of the devastation. People like Anna Manzano Fairbairn, who is originally from Maui and still has family there. She says thankfully her family is safe, but friends have been forced to evacuate. Anna is part of Sacramento-based Ohana dance group. She says they're figuring out ways to support their Ohana overseas.
My immediate thought was, okay, how can we just band together? Who needs help? Who needs resources?
The fire is devastating for a family close to the group.
Our teacher's teacher, we found out that some of his family unfortunately lost their home and their livelihood in Lahaina.
As the fires continue to rage, Hawaii's National Guard has activated to assist. The Red Cross has opened several shelters on Maui and the Big Island. I spoke with the local Red Cross, and they tell me they reached out to volunteers in our area to see if they're able to help out with relief efforts.
All right, Alicia, thank you. And we spoke to the Red Cross tonight. If you want to help people in Hawaii, they say that the easiest thing you can do right now is call 1-800-RED-CROSS or go to redcross.org to make a donation. And it is important to remember we are in the middle of peak fire season. FEMA and the Sacramento Office of Emergency Services trained together today in case of a fire emergency here. And they're warning everyone not to let their guard down.
You have members that have exercised this before, that they've gone through this process before of having a large-scale disaster and being able to come up with solutions in a timely fashion and adjust the plan as what we call injects come into play. So it really prepares us for what we'll do in a real-life scenario.
Next week is the second anniversary of the Caldor fire that threatened Tahoe. Tuolumne County is preparing to recognize the 10th anniversary of the Rim fire that threatened Yosemite. In other news, Sacramento police are looking for a driver accused of hitting at least 8 cars in a grocery store parking lot. A woman is in the hospital. Take a look at this surveillance video. It shows the driver in a dump truck jumping a sidewalk and plowing through the parking lot of the Bel Air right off of Fruit Ridge in South Sacramento. The hit and run happened weeks ago, right in the middle of the afternoon. Family of the woman who was hospitalized tell us that they did not think she would survive.
Pretty much all her internal organs have been affected. She's been in there in ICU for over a month, and they've had to open her up early on, and she's still not closed up fully because they continue to go in and surgery after surgery. They're trying to figure out what's wrong still.
And detectives say all their leads have been exhausted. They are asking people with any information about this crash to call the Sacramento Police Department. San Joaquin County deputies say a body has been found inside a car that was just pulled out from the river near 8 Mile Road. Deputies say that they believe it's a person who had been missing since 2007, but they are working to confirm that information. This is the area where crews recently removed several cars. Many of them fell into the water after crashing. And our oldest member of Congress, California Senator Dianne Feinstein, was hospitalized after she fell at her home. She's said to be back at home and uninjured. Feinstein, who is 90 years old, recently missed months of work when she was hospitalized for shingles and its side effects. And she says that she is not running for Congress in 2024. Next, on to the point, the deadly Maui fires and the fire danger that's heating up here.
It certainly is. Yeah, we're going to see likely warmer conditions in our forecast, plus the risk of thunderstorms, detailing when that fire risk goes up.
And more people working from home is opening space for affordable housing in downtown Sacramento. More video tonight of the devastation in Maui. Hundreds of homes are destroyed and at least 6 people are dead after fires ripped through the west side of the island. People ran into the ocean to save their lives. And these are satellite images that show wildfire smoke blowing across the Hawaiian Islands. Monica, I mean, these images really hit close to home when you see something like this.
Right, and especially with the smoke, we have to deal with that usually in the summer months. We've been fairly fortunate in terms of those big mega fires, just haven't seen too much of it. As far as the smoke there in Hawaii, we are looking at much improving conditions from what we saw yesterday and overnight last night through early this morning. Good to moderate air quality throughout all of the Hawaiian Islands as some of that smoke is starting to dissipate right now with better containment of the fires, but it is terribly dry. Still have that red flag warning and the wind advisory in effect. Locally, we had some hazy skies over the weekend, some fires burning to the north of us and the smoke kind of transported inland. But with that westerly flow that we have, it's really started to spread a lot of that smoke out of the region. And we're benefiting from that onshore flow, much cooler weather pattern than what we saw over the weekend. And even early this week, average high 92. We've been well below that, with highs only in the mid to upper 80s. Tonight, we'll continue to see pleasant conditions, mostly clear skies, southwest winds, and we'll see lows falling to 59. That is our average low, 59 degrees. Sunset not until 8:08. Now, over the weekend, once we start to see the heat build and the risk of lightning, that is going to bring us into a higher risk of lightning-sparked fires. So we'll continue to watch that. Here comes the low pressure system. Once it moves onshore, it will add to the instability. Initially, showers and thunderstorms in the central and southern Sierra, expanding northward into the Tahoe Basin over the weekend. Highs near 80 tomorrow, though. We're in the 80s and 90s down the hill, 60s along the coast, and we'll keep those 80s to near 90 at least for a couple more days here. As we look at that 5-day forecast, we see there's chance of thunderstorms developing for the Sierra. We'll be dry through the foothills, and our 10-day forecast, you see the heat right there.
All right, thanks, Monica. Coming up next, more affordable housing is coming to downtown Sacramento. It's one of California's top issues, affordable housing in the state. Because so many state workers are now working from home, the governor issued an executive order to turn some downtown state buildings into housing. Our Devin Truby got a tour of those sites today.
Finding an affordable home in California isn't easy. According to Zillow, the median rent in Sacramento is just over $2,000. The extreme shortage of affordable housing is why the state is putting its money where its mouth is, converting state-owned buildings into hundreds of housing units.
I can say that this is not our first state property to be leveraged for housing, and it would certainly not be the last.
The Employment Development Department building on Capitol Mall will soon be home to 400 affordable housing units. 2 more buildings will also be converted.
For every 100 low-income working households, there are only 30 affordable and available homes.
Embracing a post-COVID world where many employees are now working from home, but also making the best of development restrictions in Sacramento.
In Sacramento, many of our buildings are historic or qualify as historic. They are subject to some degree of height limitations, but we are in the process of analyzing many of our buildings for adaptive reuse potential so that when the time comes and we know that we're going to have free space, we can do what we're doing here, which is proactively solicit years in advance.
The concept was also used for the Sunrisa affordable apartments off 13th and O Streets in downtown Sacramento. The 57-unit complex opened in January.
Bring some life downtown. If you look what happened during the pandemic, Midtown was thriving. Downtown, not so much. Why? People live in Midtown. People don't live here. So bringing more housing here brings about more life to the downtown core.
There are 5,500 units being developed. The department is looking at several other buildings in the downtown core, but said they're not ready to announce which ones. There are 5,500 units being developed. The department is looking at several other buildings in the downtown core, and the department says they plan to announce a new site soon in the San Joaquin Valley, Fresno, and San Diego.
The San Diego project is located in downtown San Diego at the nexus of the various districts, so kind of like Little Italy, the government district, etc.
And that was Devin Truby reporting. Several Sacramento City Council members are pushing a policy to increase the city's amount of affordable housing. In a news conference yesterday, city officials said their initiative, Sacramento Forward, would set aside a percentage of all new housing units in the city for low and very low income households. This policy change will be brought up next Tuesday at 12:30 during a city hall meeting. It's arguably the hottest ticket in town. The Tower Bridge Dinner returns next month. In the event, it brings together our region's top chefs, and it's part of Sacramento's Farm to Fork celebrations. Our Marquez Allen caught up with the players behind this major event.
The Tower Bridge Dinner, one of the nation's most unforgettable dining experiences. Each year, hundreds gather to enjoy a locally sourced dinner prepared by some of the region and the world's top chefs. The chef and menu release press conference was standing room only this year as the event celebrates its first decade. Among this year's lineup, Michelin star-winning Nick's Taco. Owner Executive Chef Patricio Wise is ready.
What is the pressure like on the day?
Well, everything's pre-prepped to the best of our capacities. We have a big commissary with a chef running the commissary. We have 6 different kitchens along the bridge with chefs running that. So we divide everything into sections to be able to do this.
Also on hand, the founder of the Farm to Fork Festival, Visit Sacramento's Mike Testa.
It's full transparency. Every station in town is here, every network. It looks like you've got a lot of national coverage here today.
Yeah, we do. And you think about when the event itself happens. You know, in the past we've had GQ Magazine, New York Times Magazine. We'll have national media that fly out for this event. So it's a great postcard of Sacramento and the agricultural scene here and frankly, the food scene.
And, 10 years and ABC 10.
Yeah, that was totally strategic for sure to bring that in. But you make a good point. We've been doing this thing for 10 years. The first year was, there's no way this thing's going to happen. So to get 10 years in, to have the popularity that we still have, we're incredibly grateful for.
Are people shouting out across the street, hey, it's the father of Farm to Fork?
No, but everybody asked me for tickets. Everybody's trying to get an angle to get on the bridge. So.
And the dinner is on Sunday, September 10th. And no, tickets are not available if you're wondering. People have to win at random during a drawing to even buy tickets. That happened back in July. So plan ahead for next year. All right, next on To the Point. A major deadline for veterans benefits. If you're a veteran, today is your last day to apply for backdated benefits under the PACT Act. The PACT Act provides health care and benefits to veterans exposed to burn pits, Agent Orange, and other toxic substances while they served, and it throws the door wide open for thousands of veterans who weren't previously eligible. And in order to receive these benefits, veterans must start the application process before the end of today.
So for veterans that are thinking, did I have a toxic exposure? Do I have a chemical hazardous experience while I was in the military? If they file their claim before August 9, they're going to get a whole year's worth of additional service disability payments because it'll retro back.
Veterans eligible for benefits under the PACT Act can apply anytime after today, but if you submit an intent to file today, you could get thousands of dollars of back pay. And we continue to follow the fires in Maui tonight. At least 6 people are dead and search and rescue efforts continue. Now, flames race through the western part of Maui overnight. The tourist town, historic Lahaina, is destroyed. The town's famous banyan tree is also destroyed. The Red Cross says that the easiest way you can help is to donate, and they are looking for volunteers.
We need volunteers who can either do the work from their computer that we need or get out in the field and work at a shelter, things like that. All the training is free. Travel to these disaster spots is free. We take care of everything, but we need committed folks that can lend a hand.
You can contact the Red Cross by calling 1-800-RED-CROSS or visiting redcross.org. We are hearing from Sacramentans impacted by these fires coming up tonight on Late News Tonight at 11. And if you have something that you want us to know about or thoughts about the stories that you've seen right here on To The Point, please let us know. You can always text us at 916-321-3310 or email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.